Welcome to the Crimson Engine. My name is Rubidium. There is a scandal brewing in Canon Town. There's been a ton written about it on the internet, and I thought I would break down, specifically for filmmakers, what the RF licensing deal is and why RF lenses, third-party RF lenses, are being removed from the Amazon store, and Canon seems to be taking back control of the RF lens ecosystem. So up until about 5 years ago, pretty much every Canon cinema camera was EF. That changed with the release of the C70, which was the first native RF mount for a cinema camera by Canon. The RF mount was great because you can, with just a small little adapter, convert it to either EF or PL, and you can use the Canon or third-party native RF lenses, which typically are slightly larger but slightly faster than EF or PL. This camera, the C70, is RF mount, as is the R5C, R6, R3, all of the new cameras, and a lot of the rumors point to the new C300 or C500 or whatever else is coming next being RF mount as well, because it is so versatile. Now, last week, Vitrox, which is a third-party Chinese manufacturer of RF lenses, started getting notices from Canon Germany, I think it was, to take down their products because they violated patents. Canon actually hadn't released a statement about this, so everyone was wondering, are they going to stop RF mount third-party lenses? Is Canon going to be the only manufacturer that's going to be able to make RF lenses? And if you can only buy Canon gear, it limits not only the range, but also the future of the mount, because less people are likely to buy a camera that they can only buy expensive lenses for. So the critical thing to remember for filmmaking is that it seems as though Canon is enforcing patents on the RF autofocus, not on the RF mechanical mount itself. So RF cine lenses, like this 7 Artisans Spectrum 50mm, which is a pretty functional cinema lens with gears and good focus throw that retails for under $300, won't be affected because it doesn't have any information contacts. So it's not passing any data through the RF mount, and as a result doesn't violate any of Canon's patents. What is affected is autofocus lenses for the RF system. So Vitrox and numerous other lens manufacturers who have made RF lenses without Canon's approval are going to be shut out of the Amazon store, B&H probably, and it'll be very difficult to get your hands on them. Why is Canon doing this? Well, when they put millions and millions of dollars into R&D for a new lens system, they expect to be able to recoup that money by selling cameras and lenses at a premium for a certain amount of time, almost like a patent on medicine, that after a certain amount of time it expires and then copycats and lower ends enter the market. It seems as though even though they had patented the autofocus capabilities of the RF mount, third-party manufacturers had just ignored those patents and jumped in and started making clones of their popular lenses. Probably because Canon hadn't enforced any of the patents on the EF autofocus lenses, or those patents had expired. Now, is Canon shooting itself in the foot by stopping third-party manufacturers from making lenses? In some ways, yes. Because it's also going to limit the amount of people that are going to buy an RF mount camera, knowing that they have to buy more expensive RF mount autofocus lenses. Maybe they didn't make as much money as they thought they were making. Maybe they're not able to manufacture the cameras as quickly as they want to be. There has been a ton of delays with R5C, R3 deliveries, and so they're looking to make up money somewhere else. Until they release a statement, we don't know. But I think since it's their technology, they went to the trouble of paying and patenting this technology in all of these different places. Why would they do that if they didn't plan on enforcing it? The critical thing to remember is that even if you want an autofocus lens on a RF mount camera, you can always add a EF to RF adapter and use one of the tens of thousands of different EF autofocus lenses. The technology is still passed through. If they don't even let people make the adapters, you will still have to buy the $500 one from Canon, but it's basically like part of the cost of buying the camera body. The Speed Booster EF to RF that Canon sells also gives you a full frame image and an extra stop of light. So I bought that when I bought the camera, and it just seemed like part of the cost of the camera. And now I use a whole bunch of different EF lenses, RF lenses, and different EF to RF adapters. I have the Speed Booster, I have a straight through one, which I'm using right now. I also have a variable ND one that I use with my R5C. So basically, to sum up, Canon is switching over pretty much every camera they have to RF, and they are keeping the ability and the rights to manufacture RF autofocus lenses for themselves. For the foreseeable future, you'll probably only see autofocus RF lenses made by Canon. This is not particularly rare in the electronics world. You know, Apple famously operate a closed ecosystem. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a statement that comes out in a couple of weeks saying this was always our intention. People, the third-party players who created RF autofocus lenses obviously didn't read our patents and were working under the radar and working in a gray area, and all we've done is put a stop to that. There is enough wiggle room with buying existing autofocus EF lenses of all different types of quality. Even though you require a converter, the converter doesn't seem to be, in my opinion anyway, that big a disincentive. In fact, it adds all types of functionality, variable ND or speed boosting or whatever you want. As I said, I will have an update in the comments or another video when we find out more. But yeah, that's the scandal explained, and it doesn't really affect filmmakers who are using non-autofocus lenses. It doesn't really affect cinema cameras that much because you have that ability to use EF and the converter. There aren't a ton of people using native EF autofocus right now because those lenses haven't really been available, but that might change. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.